Hey, let me reorient this because it's gonna make me look even fatter than I actually am. Okay, that's better. I'm really lazy, which is why I'm fat. And I like to eat and drink beer. But anyway, autism in the 70s. I think I was autistic back in the 70s when I was a kid. I went to kindergarten. I started kindergarten in the summer of 76. And graduated high school in the spring of 89. So I'm an old fuck. But autism, what I understand about it, Aspergers, it's been in the news a lot lately. I don't know. I was really strange when I was a kid. I didn't talk to people at all. I didn't have any friends until I was in the second grade, and I became friends with this kid named Mike Williams. And he was a nice kid, and we were buddies. I wasn't a fat kid back then either. I was very thin, but I did weird shit. Like I would go and I'd lay down in the grass and just stare up at the sky while everybody else was rolling around on the monkey bars and stuff. Like that picture you see of the the construction workers in New York building the Chrysler building or the Empire State Building or something. I don't remember what the building is, but it's that famous iconic picture of these guys sitting on an I-beam eating their lunch, suspended 100 stories above the ground, and none of them are afraid that they might possibly slip on bird shit and fall to the ground and crack their fucking head open like a cracked egg or something. All the other kids were fearless like that, but I was a big puss. I was really afraid of heights. I didn't climb the monkey bars because I thought I'd fall off and crack my fucking head open. I didn't swing. I tried to be friends with kids, but I didn't know how to read like social cues and stuff. And I ignored people a lot. I was very quiet. I just ignored people. I was rude. But whenever I would try to break out of my shell and be nice to people, they would go, "Ow, I don't like him. He's weird and he's rude." And I had long hair too. I still have long hair now. I've always had long hair, at least for most of my life. When I was a little kid, I was like 5 years old, I had really long hair. And it was 1976, which was more common for little boys to have long hair back then than it is now. But mine was really, really long because whenever my parents would try to take me to the barber, I'd have a screaming hissy fit because I thought the barber was going to cut my fucking ear or cut my face or something. I was really paranoid. But anyway, I didn't know how to relate to other kids. I didn't have any friends. Whenever it was playtime, I'd want to go play house with the little girls and stuff. But I didn't want to be a little girl. I wanted to be a little boy. And I'm straight. I've never been homosexual or bisexual or anything. I just liked the little girls at a young age. Then later on, I guess in the second grade, I got really fat. And I've been fat ever since then. But I was thin for the first 7 or 8 years of life. And I had a crooked leg. And I limped around because I had a crooked leg. And what do they call that? My ankle when I was born, I guess got stuck in my mom's rib cage, which must have been painful. I don't remember. But I guess my mom does. I had to pull my head out with forceps, and I guess my head was all misshapen. They do that a lot, I guess, to breech babies and shit like that. But I wasn't born ass first. I was born head first. I was lucky. My brother was born ass first. But I don't know if that had anything to do with my development being screwy when I was a kid. I mean, we were a working class family. But, you know, my mom was somehow able to get us into Montessori school. She was pretty smart, you know, back then. She was still young and beautiful, and she was 32 back then, you know. And my parents would fight, and they ended up getting divorced later. My mom gained a bunch of weight and quit cleaning the house, and I started gaining weight when she gained weight, and so I was able to eat whatever I wanted to. I don't know. I've never been diagnosed as autistic or having Aspergers syndrome or any of that shit, but I wouldn't fucking be surprised if I had that back in '76 when I was a little kid. Even had it when I was in Montessori school. You know, I was like 4 years old. I used to do weird things like they had the Montessori class in the basement, and I walked up to the window in the basement on the outside, and I thought I was going to be slick, you know, pull my little dick out, take a piss, you know. It was when you're 3, 4 fucking years old, you pull your little dick out and take a piss. It's one of the advantages you have over little girls who can't do that. So I was prideful, and also I come from a blue-collar, working-class family of shit kickers in Missouri, and all the men in my family would pull their dicks out and take a piss in the grass, but anyway, I guess that rubbed off, and they would all drink beer and stuff like that. And anyway, I pulled my dick out and just pissed on the window, and I wasn't thinking that everybody in the fucking Montessori school could see me doing this the whole time, you know. So now I would be considered, a sexual predator because of that, and I'd be on some kind of a fucking list somewhere for public urination. They put you on a sex offenders list for that. I don't know if they do that to 3-year-olds, but it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. Back in those days, things didn't get diagnosed the way they do now. At least not where I was from, you know. It was called being a bad kid. And you'd get yelled at, and sometimes you'd get a whipping if you were being too weird. And I got my ass kicked for being weird by my dad and my mom, and by the kids at school. I got my ass kicked a lot. I didn't know how to fight. I was like, pain hurts. I couldn't take a punch, so I was kind of a pussy. But I don't know. Was there Asperger's syndrome in the 70s? I guess it wouldn't be a syndrome today if there wasn't. But anyway, I don't know if that helps, but I don't know. Are we overdiagnosed today? We have little kids on, you know, psychological meds or whatever for mental health conditions when they're fucking 6 years old and stuff. We didn't really do that back in the 70s yet. But I don't know. I survived. Anyway, that's all.